Hello and welcome back to the Study Legal English YouTube channel. I'm Louise. Welcome if it's your first time here. Welcome back if you are a regular. We're diving straight back in today with some more legal English collocations with make and do. This is the part 3 of this series. So if you missed part 1 or part 2, make sure that you find that either up there in the top right-hand corner of this video or down below in the description. So today we're going to go through a few more collocations with make and do, and as well as that, you're going to have the opportunity to test your knowledge with a quiz. So are you ready? Let's go. Let's look at the first phrase. The first phrase is to something a course. To something a course, to make or do a course. The meaning of this is to participate in or to take a course. An example sentence is, the English course I something last year made me more confident. I can now interact with our firm's international clients with ease. Okay, the answer is to do a course, okay? The English course I did, we have to conjugate, of course, as we go through. Okay, just pay attention because some people might say that to do a course could mean both to take the course as a student. It's more common in the USA to say I took a course rather than I did a course, I believe. You could also take it to mean that I taught the course, okay, to teach the course as a teacher. So it's slightly ambiguous. However, the context should make it obvious. If you don't want to have any room for any ambiguity, then instead of using do, you can simply say to take, probably, because I imagine that you're taking courses, but if you yourself are teaching a course, you can instead say to teach. I taught a course. Okay? All right, let's move on to the second phrase. Make or do. To make or do concessions. What does it mean? This means to give up a point that you want to achieve or you wanted to achieve, and it's typically used in negotiations. Okay? You wanted to achieve something. You wanted to change a particular clause, but you decided that you would concede, you would give up this point and allow the other side to get what they wanted. An example is, while we are willing to concessions regarding the scope of the indemnity clause, we simply cannot compromise on liability limitations. Okay, do you think it's make or do? 3, 2, 1. The answer is to make, okay, to make concessions. And so here, again, we would just say to make while we're willing to make concessions. You don't need to conjugate it there. Okay, let's look at phrase 3. To make or do tasks. To make or do tasks. This means to perform or to complete assigned duties or work activities. Let's look at an example sentence. I have a lot of tasks before the end of the week, including reviewing a commercial lease, attending a call with a client, and writing my part in our firm's client newsletter. Okay, typical phrase that a lawyer might say. So 3, 2, 1. The answer is to do tasks. Okay, so I have a lot of tasks to do before the end of the week. Okay, let's move on to phrase 4. Phrase 4, to something, to make or do a payment. To make or do a payment. So this means to fulfill a financial obligation by transferring money. You're paying for something, right? An example sentence is, the buyer was instructed to a payment within 30 days of receiving the invoice. 40 days have now passed since the receipt of invoice with no payment, and interest is therefore accruing. Okay, so 3, 2, 1. What do you think it is? Okay, the answer is to make. Okay, to make a payment. So here we would say to make. The buyer was instructed to make a payment. Okay. All right. Let's move on. So phrase 5, to something, to make or do something, or to make or do nothing. What does it mean? It means to take action or remain inactive. Okay, so either to take action if you make or do something, or to remain inactive if you make or do nothing in a particular situation. But we have to find out whether it's make or do, which is the correct answer. Let's look at an example sentence. We understand that so far the other party has nothing to remedy the breach, and that you are eager to something to resolve this issue. However, we suggest waiting one more week for a response before taking further action. Okay. To be eager means to be keen, to be enthusiastic about, to want to do something very much. Okay. So the answer here, 3, 2, 1. The answer is to do. You want to do something, or you want to do nothing. You should do nothing. Okay. So we understand that so far the other party has done, you're using your present perfect there, okay, has done nothing to remedy the breach, and that you are eager to do something to resolve this issue. Okay, let's continue to phrase number 6, to make or do shopping, to make or do shopping. The definition is to purchase goods, of course, typically at a store or a market, but nowadays it's very often online. Let's look at the example sentence. As more people, they're shopping online, businesses must ensure they comply with data protection laws, including the GDPR, to safeguard customer information. To safeguard means to protect. So 3, 2, 1. Do you think it's make or do? The answer is to do shopping. Okay, as more people do their shopping online. Okay, let's continue to phrase number 7, to something one's job. To make or do one's job. What do you think? It means to fulfill the responsibilities and duties associated with one's role or position. To work, okay, to carry out your functions. An example sentence is, the consultant argues that he wasn't able to his job properly as he wasn't given access to the company's database. Okay. Do you think it's make or do? 3, 2, 1. The answer is to do one's job. Okay, so the consultant argued that he wasn't able to do his job properly. Okay. Let's move on to the next phrase, phrase 8, to make or do a claim. To make or do a claim. This means to assert that something is true, okay, to claim, to assert a right, or to request something that is owed. It's more broad than only being used in a legal context, okay? I'll talk more about that in a minute, okay? Because you probably know that a claim is you're requesting something in the civil court, okay? But we'll look at that in a minute. So let's look at an example sentence here. It might make it clearer. An example, the business, a claim for a tax rebate after discovering they had overpaid last year. A rebate, a tax rebate, is when you get a refund from the tax authority because you have paid too much tax, okay? So, do you think it's make or do a claim? 3, 2, 1. The answer is to make a claim. You can use to make a claim in a variety of circumstances. You could also use it if you are making a claim under an insurance policy. For example, you took out an insurance policy, you took out insurance, you went on holiday, your bags were lost, and you then made a claim under this policy to recover the cost of your loss. However, you're probably thinking, I've also heard this maybe being used in a legal context. So, of course, as a lawyer, you might use to make a claim, but you might use these other ones more frequently. Those being to start a claim, okay, which means to begin formal legal proceedings, to sue someone, to start legal action in the civil court. A similar collocation here is to bring a claim, which also can mean to begin formal legal proceedings, but it also has the feeling of it's continuing, it's ongoing. We started a claim last week, okay, by filing the claim form. We are currently bringing a claim against a company, meaning you've started it and you're involved in the proceedings, okay? So I hope that's clear. Whereas to make a claim is a bit more broad. You could say my client is making a claim against the other party for breach of contract. However, these ones would be more common for that particular instance. Let's go on to phrase number 9, to something redundant. To something redundant. Okay, what does it mean? It means to terminate someone's employment for legitimate reasons, such as their role, their job, their function is no longer needed, or the company is ceasing business in that location. They're closing an office, they're closing a branch. Okay, an example sentence is, due to the merger, the firm or the company 100 employees redundant. Okay, do you think it's make or do here? Make or do? 3, 2, 1. The answer is to make redundant. Okay, it's a collocation. There's no direct verb for this particular process. You can't say to redundancy a person. Redundancy is a noun. You can't say to redundant someone. Redundant is an adjective. You have to use the collocation to make redundant. Okay, so here, due to the merger, the firm made, or is making maybe, okay, made 100 employees redundant. All right, let's go on to phrase number 10. To something comments, to something comments, to make or do comments. What does it mean? It means to comment on something, to express opinions, to give feedback, to provide feedback on something. Okay, let's look at an example sentence. I have marked up the contract and comments where necessary to explain the amendments for you to review. Okay, this is something you typically might say to a colleague if you've marked up a contract, you've checked it, you've deleted parts, you've changed it. You might also make comments to explain what you've done. So, oops, did I give the answer away there? Do you think it's make or do? 3, 2, 1. The answer is to make. Okay, to make comments. So here I have marked up the contract. I have made comments. You're using your present perfect there. Okay, so we're going to do a very quick fire round. We're going to do a very quick quiz. You're going to have some phrases, okay? We're going to continue through them. They're a bit mixed up here. You have to think, is it make or do? And then we'll go through the answers, okay? So, to something one's job, to make or do comments, to make or do a claim, to make or do concessions, to make or do something or nothing. Number 6, to make or do a course. Number 7, to make or do tasks. Number 8, to make or do redundant. Number 9, to make or do shopping. And number 10, to make or do a payment. Okay. Hopefully you've got all your answers. Hopefully they are 100% correct. Let's see. Okay. To do one's job. To do one's job. To make comments. To make comments. To make a claim. To make a claim. To make concessions. To make concessions. To do something or to do nothing. To do a course. To do a course. To do tasks. To do tasks. To make redundant. To make someone redundant. To make an employee redundant. To do shopping. To do shopping. And finally, to make a payment. To make a payment. How many did you get correct? Let me know in the comments. And why don't you try to make your own sentences using these collocations with make and do? By doing this, you're going to improve, and because you'll be practicing using them. Okay. All right. So thank you for listening today. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that you learned something new. I hope you learned some new collocations. Don't forget to visit my website, www.studylegalenglish.com, for more resources to get ahead with your legal English. Do check out my other videos. Please do me a favor. Share them with a friend or a colleague who could find them useful, because that really helps me grow my channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join me on my Study Legal English Facebook group or on Instagram. My account is @LegalEnglisher. Thanks for watching and see you next time.